So Riley here has a testimony to share with you guys. Something that he's been going through.
It's the second time for me to share it, so it's gonna be kind of rough, but
It's alright. We got you.
Everybody's life kind of goes through small events that lead to bigger events, right? You know, you start in preschool, you go to kindergarten, you go to elementary school, you go to elementary to high school, and then high school to college, and then college to your job, and then your job to your kids, and whatever it is, there's little events that lead to bigger, and it exponentially rises. Well, the same is for my life as well. You know, I started off accepting Christ when I was like 4, and accepting Christ. You know, I believe that Jesus was God's Son, so you know, I think I did accept Christ right then. But it wasn't until I was probably 15 that I really started to accept what that meant. You know, that it meant I had to lay down my life for what the Lord had for me. You know, He told me when I was 15 at a youth conference actually that I was going to be a worship leader, and so I started a worship team, and I tried to sing, and I picked up guitar, and you know, I tried to do all these things, and I realized that I was pushing in a direction that God didn't have for me. That's not what He meant by worship leader. I'm not the guy that sits there, you know, with the hipster haircut, the skinny jeans, the long t-shirts, and you know, plays guitar and leads people in worship. That wasn't what He had for me. And so I really realized that because of my leadership skills with the youth praise band. I scared everybody away because my pride wouldn't let somebody be better than me, and that's totally bogus of what God's idea of leadership is. And so He said, well, I still want you to be a worship leader, just not what you think a worship leader is. You need to focus on your leadership. You need to seek out wisdom. And so I started reading Proverbs, and I sought counsel from my pastor, from my associate pastor, from everybody I could. I was just like, you talk to me, you talk to me, you talk to me. Give me wisdom. I want it. I yearn for it. And I think I did. I think I really did seek wisdom, but it still had a pride issue. You know, it was more about me than what God planned for me. And that became evident with my relationships, with who I sought to give my attentions to, whether it be females, whether it be my parents, whether it be my friends, whoever it was. It just wasn't the right place. And so after 3 years of seeking wisdom, I realized that, and I started noticing that, well, to be a real leader, I have to be a follower first, you know. And so I stayed in my worship team as the background, you know, lead guitarist, whatever they had me in, that's what I was. And I kind of got stuck there for a while. I was like, okay, God, I'm ready for you to bring bigger things. I'm tired of being stuck in this one position for years. You know that, you know, I'm in the background. I've been a follower. You know, when the worship leader says do this, I do this. When he says don't do this, I don't do this. You know, I don't know what to do, God. And I got a phone call. It was Thursday night, and I didn't get a phone call. My roommate got a phone call, who was the worship leader. And he said, what are you doing next Saturday? And I was like, well, not that I'm off. And he was like, well, there's this band called Shattered Silence that needs a bass player. And I was like, well, I don't play bass. I don't have a bass. I don't have anything. I can just play bass. And so that was that. I had 3 days to learn, I don't know what, like 6 or 7 songs, and I was tripping out because I didn't play bass. I didn't have a bass, and it took me, you know, 4 days to find one. And that was all she wrote. I realized that this is what God had been preparing me for. Had been preparing me for this mission, you know, of learning how to be a follower, you know, learning how to be a bass player. You know, it's a different aspect, and I kind of not got stuck here, but I was like, okay, so now I'm waiting for the next big thing that God has for me, and you know, I stayed with him for a year, and the next big thing hit me probably about 4 months ago. There's a disease that runs in my family called Huntington's disease. It's like Alzheimer's, ALS, and Parkinson's put together. It eats away the parts of your brain that control your motor functions, your character, and your ability to think. And it starts affecting your mind around the age 35. And I had noticed this symptom in my mother, and she's 50 now, 52 now. And it's progressively getting worse. She's starting to lose control of her body. She's starting to not really be able to process things properly. It is obsessive and those kind of things. And she wouldn't accept the fact that she had it, because you have to get blood tested to tell if you have it. And she wouldn't do it. So if she can't do it, she can't get treatment, because the doctor's like, well, I don't know if you have it. I need to see this blood test. So with that being said, you know, there's a 50-50 chance that each offspring of the person who has it will give it to their offspring. And so I said, well, I'll go get tested, and if it says no, well then maybe she doesn't have it, maybe it's something else. And so I went and got tested and came back positive. So what that means for my life is that my life is cut in half. I'm 23 years old, and I would start losing my mind at the age 35. And I don't know how to tell you that time is very important in any more surreal way than knowing that you've got 10 years left of your mind. And I encourage you to take, you know, you think you might be young now. I thought I was young. I thought I was young now. And I encourage you, I implore you to seek after the Lord. Because time is short. You don't know if you'll die in 30 seconds. You don't know if you'll die when you go back home in your car. You don't know if you'll die when you're 60 or 70 in your sleep. You don't know what's going to happen. You know, I don't know if I'll die tomorrow, but you know, I realize that time is so short, and that I need to stop waiting for the next moment of my life and prepare for where I'm at now. Where you're at now, where you're at in your schools, if you're going to college, you know, your campus, what kind of ministries are there? You know, it's so important. I don't even know how else to say it. Just seek after God with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Seriously.